let's tackle that risk-based approach in a little more detail. This is something that we work through pretty frequently with some of our customers. So if you want a template on how to do this in more thorough detail, just let us know after the webinar. We'd be happy to set you up with something. But basically, you start by identifying your lone workers and your risks. So look at all of the different types of lone workers that you have, all of the different risks that they can face. The next step is really to group those risks, group all of the common risks together. And this is really going to form the basis of your procedure. So those common risks will be the minimum that all employees across the organization have to incorporate into their procedure. Next, you want to look at grouping the lone workers based on the unique risks that they face. So just as an example, you may have a group of employees, let's just say maintenance technicians, that are in Alberta, and then another group that are in California. Well, your employees in Alberta are going to face a lot more extreme weather risks than your employees in California. While the majority of the procedure may be the same, you may want to branch off. Think of it like a flow chart. You have the top part that means the same for both, and then a branch for each that lets them address the unique risks that they face. And then, of course, I pretty much just covered this build a procedure point. But again, one thing to note is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a difference in procedure either. Different risks can be mitigated in different ways. So if you have a group of employees that face a lot of communication challenges, so they're working in remote areas, your procedure may be the same, but they may use the satellite device for communication as opposed to a phone. So just something to keep in mind, it can be procedural or device-based. So let's look at the minimum requirements. So when we talk about in that slide that we just addressed, the fact that there's often these common risks that form the basis of your procedure, here is basically what you would want to see as a bare minimum in any procedure. So obviously we would encourage you to go into more depth and to cover all the bases, but at the bare minimum, here's what should be addressed. Number one, a hazard assessment. So you'll see this across almost all legislation. It typically does address a hazard assessment, and it really gets the employees engaged in thinking about the risks that they're facing when entering a lone worker situation. So whether that is something that's done internally, for example, between an employee and a supervisor before they go on a job, or it can be done by a third party as well. You can have that as part of your procedure when you book a lone worker monitoring session. The second item there is two-way communication. So provide employees with two-way communication at all times. We've seen time and time again how if you only have it one way, it makes for a lot of difficulties in assessing the nature of emergencies or getting the full context of a situation with an employee. So if you don't have cell phone reception or a landline, it's important to look at alternate methods. That could be satellite-based, that could be having an app that syncs with Wi-Fi, any number of means, but just make sure that there is two-way communication. In terms of a 24/7 check-in, we already talked about the fact that periodic check-ins really do form the basis or the fundamental of every work alone program, so that certainly is important. But it's also important to ensure that there is someone at any point of the day who can accept a call from someone working in a lone worker situation. So if you have employees and internal managers or supervisors monitoring your employees, it's really important to ensure there's a backup for when they're not on duty. So if they're asleep at night, you need to have an on-call person or a third-party monitor, someone who is available to take those calls. Location. So this one doesn't come up often in the legislation, and we often wonder why. It's something that we've kind of included in our toolkit of best practices because we've seen it time and time again how crucial it is in emergency situations to know the location of the employee as close to real time as possible. So that can vary according to the type of lone worker situation. If you have people that are traveling or working remotely, that could be an app that syncs with your phone GPS. That could be an actual GPS device, your satellite device, or it could be, security cameras. And when you talk about retail and convenience stores, just making sure that you're able to identify where that employee is should something go wrong.